As we brace for what is being called a bomb cyclone here in BC, a lot of people are worried about the damage that it could cause. And to explain what this weather event truly is and what impact it might have on you, we're joined by CBC science and climate specialist Darius Mahdavi. Hi, Darius.
Hello.
You've been a busy boy today.
A little bit.
So, bomb cyclone, it's a very dramatic term. And I think a lot of people are really feeling on edge about, what potentially could happen tonight. So tell us some more.
Right. So dramatic term. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of these supposedly new weather terms.
Right.
We've been calling fast developing storms weather bombs since the 50s.
Yeah.
So this is not an out there term, but I know it sort of hasn't been introduced to the public until like a decade ago. So it's pretty new to a lot of people, but it just means that a storm is developing very quickly. And in this case, it's more than doubled the criteria for how fast it's developing to meet the criteria for a weather bomb. Okay. So to meet the criteria, you need to drop your central pressure by 24 millibars in under 24 hours. That's a pretty rapid drop in pressure. This storm, though, dropping 50, maybe even 60 millibars, where we're seeing drops of 15 millibars every 3 hours. I know those numbers don't mean a lot to a lot of people, but that's extremely fast development. The storm is going to drop to a pressure in the center, similar to what you'd see in a Category 3 or 4 hurricane in the Atlantic. So we're not going to see major hurricane level impacts, but they could be quite strong. This is definitely a strong storm. This is the kind of storm where you want to bring in your patio furniture.
Right. Make
sure that if there's any dead branches on your property, make sure you clean those up. We could see hurricane force winds rushing through some of the valleys and inlets across BC's coast, especially. But even inland valleys could see very, very strong winds, outflow winds, pulling as just all the air from overland rushes through all of those corridors to try and fill in the low pressure off the shore.
Okay.
So wind is definitely the big concern this time around.
Is it comparable to sort of any storms we've seen in the recent past?
We've seen strong windstorms before. I think what's notable about this one is how widespread those winds are going to be. I mean, winds gusting over 100 kilometers per hour are expected for virtually everywhere on the coast of Vancouver Island. Most places probably going to see 80, 90 kilometers per hour, even on the east coast of the island. But many places, including downtown Victoria, could see gusts up to 100. Some places on the west coast of the island could see gusts up to 150 kilometers per hour. Fortunately, those are mostly unpopulated areas on the west coast, which is a little bit of good news, but still very strong. We're going to see waves, especially off the west coast island in places like Tofino, 6 to 8 meters high. So very, very major waves, the possibility for some coastal flooding there. Very high precipitation amounts, mostly in the mountains. So big dumps of snow. Mount Washington, for instance, could get a meter of snow over the next few days, which is definitely significant. I'd say in terms of comparing it to major storms, we're lucky in this case that it's not going to move over land, staying out in the ocean. That's really our saving grace here.
I was just going to say, but I would think with that rapid snowfall that perhaps the avalanche danger will be rising up, which is sort of the first we've had that obviously this year.
Yes, that's true. Wind slabs are a big concern. So it's often an early season formation that causes avalanches. The Avalanche Canada is going to start issuing daily updates in terms of avalanche risk starting this Thursday for the coast, already started for parts of the interior. So keep an eye on those.
All right. And you mentioned it quickly off the top, bomb cyclone. I think people hear it and they think it's some new term that the media has made up to sort of, gather more views or get attention. But it is an old term, and we're actually seeing a return to the more scientific names, are we not?
Yes, atmospheric river, bomb cyclone, these are terms that have existed.
It's not a Pineapple Express anymore.
Right. I mean, you can call it a Pineapple Express, just atmospheric river is sort of a more general term. For it to be a Pineapple Express, it has to originate near Hawaii, basically. Right. But an atmospheric river can come from other places as well. This time around, there is an atmospheric river, but it's heading for the states, sort of Southern California, Oregon. They're going to see an atmospheric river, and it is actually a Pineapple Express.
All right.
But I think these terms are very useful in terms of communicating the intensity of a storm. I mean, when people hear atmospheric river, especially here in BC, it lists a lot of emotions given what we've seen before. Exactly, with an atmospheric river. And I think it's difficult to separate the emotional aspect of that from the sort of scientific technical definition, where it's just this stream of moisture moving through the atmosphere. And that is very reasonable. I think 2021 was the time a lot of people were introduced to that term for the first time.
Yeah.
But it gives you an idea of what you can expect. An atmospheric river means prolonged moisture. Bomb cyclone means very strong winds. These are things that we can hopefully start to allow us to communicate better with the public.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate what a busy day you're having, but you'll be keeping everybody updated tonight on the 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock news.
Will do, yes.
Awesome. That is Darius Mahdavi, our CBC Science and Climate Specialist. And BC Ferries has already posted a number of cancellations for this evening, so please check bcferries.com for the latest information.